If you become a big from this TV series, what I remember about it is that it was fun to be on that set. I didn't realize how significant that movie was going to be.
The king of the dance floor takes his movie nights seriously. John Travolta, the star who electrified audiences in Saturday Night Fever and Pulp Fiction, has revealed the films that left the deepest mark on him. His picks range from timeless classics to surprising gems, offering a glimpse into the tastes of a Hollywood icon. These are the movies that inspired, challenged, and shaped Travolta's unforgettable career. A Man and a Woman. When asked by Cigar Aficionado to name his favorite films, John Travolta gave an answer that might have surprised many. All my favorite movies are French. A Man and a Woman and Going Places, in French, Les Valseuses, are my two favorite movies. While Travolta is widely known for his iconic roles in American cinema, from Saturday Night Fever to Pulp Fiction, his admiration for French filmmaking speaks volumes about his taste for nuance, artistry, and emotional authenticity in cinema. Travolta described A Man and a Woman as the most romantic movie ever made, emphasizing how it captured the real feelings of two people falling in love. He was particularly impressed by the way the film blended narrative, visual imagery, and music to evoke the subtle emotional shifts of its central romance. According to Travolta, every image of that movie looks like a work of art. This appreciation highlights not just the storytelling, but the visual craftsmanship of director Claude Lelouch, whose work in this film epitomizes the French New Wave's capacity to combine spontaneity with meticulous cinematic composition. Released in 1966, A Man and a Woman follows the story of two individuals, Jean-Louis Trintignant and Anouk Aimée, who meet while coping with the grief and guilt over their deceased former partners. Their burgeoning romance is both tender and complex, navigating the tension between longing for love and the moral weight of moving on. This emotional depth was unprecedented at the time. Lelouch eschewed melodrama for a quieter, more intimate portrayal of connection, allowing audiences to feel the characters' hesitations, vulnerabilities, and small joys. The film's narrative delicacy is complemented by its groundbreaking cinematography, including innovative use of color and black and white sequences, which Travolta found particularly striking. Each frame seems carefully composed yet fluid, reflecting the inner lives of the characters with visual poetry. The music, composed by Francis Lai, is another cornerstone of the film's enduring appeal. Its gentle, haunting melodies provide a perfect counterpoint to the story's emotional currents, accentuating moments of joy, tension, and longing. Travolta's praise for the music underscores his sensitivity to the way auditory elements enhance the cinematic experience. The title song, Un homme et une femme, became a cultural touchstone in its own right, winning the Academy Award for Best Original Score and further cementing the film's reputation as a masterpiece of both storytelling and sensory immersion. A Man and a Woman achieved international acclaim, winning the prestigious Palme d'Or at the Cannes Film Festival and later earning Academy Awards for Best Foreign Language Film and Best Original Screenplay. Its impact on French cinema was profound, demonstrating that intimate, character-driven stories could resonate with audiences worldwide. The film's success in France was monumental, leading to sequels such as A Man and a Woman 20 Years Later, 1986, and The Best Years of a Life, 2019, which revisited Trintignant and Aimée decades later, exploring how time and life experiences shape love and memory. These sequels attest to the timelessness of Lelouch's original vision and the enduring fascination with the character's emotional journey. For Travolta, the film's influence extends beyond admiration. It embodies the essence of cinematic romance and artistry. In a Hollywood landscape often dominated by spectacle, action, and commercial formulas, his love for A Man and a Woman underscores a deep appreciation for subtlety, elegance, and the truthful portrayal of human emotion. It is telling that he pairs it with Les Valseuses, another French film known for its audacious and intimate storytelling, revealing a consistent preference for movies that challenge conventions and reveal the raw complexities of life and love. Going Places. When John Travolta revealed his two all-time favorite films in Cigar Aficionado, many were surprised to discover that one of them was Going Places, Les Valseuses, a highly controversial French film released in 1974. While Travolta's Hollywood legacy is tied to musicals, dramas, and action-packed blockbusters, his admiration for Les Valseuses underscores a deep, perhaps unexpected, appreciation for provocative, boundary-pushing cinema. It's a testament to his nuanced taste that he can find value in a film that is deliberately transgressive, morally challenging, and deeply polarizing. Directed by Bertrand Blier, Going Places stars Patrick Dewey and a young Gérard Depardieu in the roles of two aimless, rebellious men who drift through life committing petty crimes, harassing strangers, and generally flouting social conventions. The film's narrative centers less on plot than on character energy and anarchic behavior. Jean-Claude Dewey and Pierrot Depardieu are emblematic of youthful nihilism, a raw, sometimes shocking expression of rebellion against societal norms. Travolta's admiration for the film may stem from the boldness of its central performances. Both Dewey and Depardieu deliver unflinching portrayals of characters who are as magnetic as they are morally ambiguous, embodying a kind of chaotic charm that feels both dangerous and exhilarating. On its release, Going Places provoked outrage for its graphic depictions of violence, sexual aggression, and social transgression. Even within the context of France's famously daring cinematic tradition, the film's explicit content pushed boundaries and forced audiences to confront uncomfortable truths about human behavior. The protagonist's behavior, stealing, assaulting, and manipulating those around them, was intended to be shocking, and it succeeded. Yet beneath the surface chaos, the film offers a darkly comic exploration of freedom, desire, and the absurdity of social constraints, blending humor and horror in ways that remain compelling to cinephiles decades later. Despite the controversy, or perhaps because of it, Going Places achieved cult status. Its unapologetic depiction of moral ambiguity and transgression resonated with fans of underground cinema and French countercultural film movements, offering a stark contrast to conventional Hollywood morality tales. In highlighting this film as one of his favorites, Travolta reveals an appreciation for art that challenges viewers, that refuses to conform to easy judgments or traditional narrative comfort zones. It is an acknowledgement of cinema's power not only to entertain, but to provoke, disturb, and inspire thought. The film's legacy is further complicated by later allegations against Gérard Depardieu, adding another layer to its controversial reputation. Yet Going Places continues to be studied and discussed for its fearless performances, radical storytelling, and the way it captures the restless energy of its era. The film's visual style, marked by handheld camera work and improvisational staging, enhances the sense of immediacy and unpredictability, drawing the viewer into the disordered, impulsive lives of its protagonists. Travolta's fascination with this artistic approach underscores his interest in cinema that challenges conventional techniques as well as moral frameworks. Travolta's pairing of Going Places with a man and a woman is telling. Whereas A Man and a Woman captures romance with exquisite artistry and emotional subtlety, Going Places confronts the raw, chaotic, and often unsavory aspects of human desire and freedom. Together, these films highlight Travolta's broad cinematic palette. He is drawn both to visual poetry and emotional truth, as well as to films that provoke reflection through moral ambiguity and audacious narrative choices. La Strada and Yankee Doodle Dandy. When John Travolta spoke to CBS News about his all-time favorite films, he mentioned two classics that, on the surface, could not be more different: La Strada, 1954, and Yankee Doodle Dandy, 1942. This pairing highlights the breadth of Travolta's cinematic taste, demonstrating his appreciation for both deeply human, poetic storytelling and the exuberant, star-driven musicals that defined Hollywood's golden age. Each film, in its own way, left an indelible mark on the actor, shaping his understanding of performance, emotion, and the power of cinema to move audiences. La Strada, directed by the legendary Italian filmmaker Federico Fellini, is widely regarded as one of the masterpieces of post-war European cinema. Released in 1954, the film follows Gelsomina, Giulietta Massina, a naive and innocent young woman who is sold by her impoverished mother to Zampano, Anthony Quinn, a brutish traveling strongman who performs at fairs and circus shows. Travolta's admiration for La Strada lies not only in its narrative, but in the exquisite humanity of its characters and the poetic visual storytelling that Fellini employs. The film is a meditation on love, suffering, and the human condition, portraying the tension between cruelty and tenderness, freedom and constraint, with a lyricism that feels timeless. Every frame seems carefully composed, and yet it retains a raw, almost improvisational energy that draws the viewer deeply into Gelsomina's emotional journey. Travolta has often emphasized that performances like Massina's demonstrate the capacity of film actors to communicate profound emotion through gesture, expression, and timing, a lesson that resonates with his own approach to acting. The character of Gelsomina, with her childlike innocence and resilience in the face of Zampano's abusive authority, epitomizes a type of storytelling that relies on empathy rather than spectacle. Travolta's connection to La Strada likely stems from this purity of human expression, the way Fellini allows the audience to inhabit the inner lives of his characters. The film's use of music, particularly Nino Rota's haunting score, enhances its emotional depth, creating a resonance between the viewer and the on-screen world that elevates the narrative beyond a simple tale of love and hardship. La Strada won the inaugural Academy Award for Best Foreign Language Film, cementing its status as a milestone in international cinema. Its influence on generations of actors and filmmakers, including Travolta, is profound, offering lessons in subtlety, nuance, and the enduring power of human emotion. In contrast, Yankee Doodle Dandy, directed by Michael Curtiz and released in 1942, represents the exuberant, patriotic, and larger-than-life side of classic Hollywood. Starring James Cagney in one of his most iconic roles, the film tells the story of George M. Cohan, the famed songwriter, entertainer, and symbol of American spirit. Travolta's admiration for Yankee Doodle Dandy highlights his appreciation for performance as spectacle, charisma, and sheer energy. Cagney's portrayal is a masterclass in timing, vitality, and showmanship, blending song, dance, and comedic sensibility into a singular, electrifying presence. The film itself is a celebration of American optimism and resilience, released during the height of World War II, and its exuberance and technical polish continue to influence actors and entertainers decades later. Travolta's love for these two films demonstrates a remarkable duality in his cinematic palette. On one hand, La Strada embodies the quiet, devastating beauty of European art cinema, with its attention to human fragility, moral complexity, and visual poetry. On the other, Yankee Doodle Dandy exemplifies the thrilling, joyous, and larger-than-life qualities of American cinema at its peak, where performance, musicality, and patriotic sentiment converge to create unforgettable entertainment. This combination reflects Travolta's understanding that great films can resonate for vastly different reasons. Some captivate through emotional depth and artistic subtlety, others through charisma, performance mastery, and cultural energy. Both films share a commitment to emotional authenticity, even if expressed through wildly different cinematic languages. La Strada presents its characters' inner lives with careful, empathetic observation, while Yankee Doodle Dandy showcases the exuberance and precision of an actor fully inhabiting a role, engaging audiences with every gesture and note. For Travolta, the lessons are clear. Cinema is both art and craft, and the most memorable films leave an impression through a combination of performance, storytelling, and an ability to evoke emotion that transcends time, culture, and language. Urban Cowboy. For John Travolta, Urban Cowboy is more than just a movie. It is, in his own words, my favorite experience on a film. Sharing a photo from the set on Instagram in 2022, Travolta reflected on the unique significance of the movie, emphasizing that the project represented a turning point in his career and a creative fulfillment unlike any other. While Travolta had already become a household name through iconic roles in Carrie, Saturday Night Fever, and The Boy in the Plastic Bubble, Urban Cowboy allowed him to explore a different facet of his acting abilities. The challenge of embodying a character whose world was as unfamiliar to him as it was authentic to the audience. Released in 1980 and directed by James Bridges, Urban Cowboy tells the story of Bud Davis, a working-class man from Pasadena, Texas, who navigates love, heartbreak, and self-discovery against the backdrop of the honky-tonk bar culture. The film is notable for its authentic portrayal of a subculture that had rarely been depicted in mainstream Hollywood cinema at the time. The urban-rural crossover, where city sensibilities collide with country lifestyle, cowboy swagger, and the moral codes of a tight-knit community. For Travolta, the role of Bud Davis represented a departure from the more flamboyant or melodramatic characters he had portrayed previously. Whereas Tony Manero in Saturday Night Fever was emblematic of disco-era excess and teenage rebellion, Bud Davis required a subtler, more grounded performance, combining charm, physicality, and vulnerability to create a believable, city guy going country. Travolta's reflection that people would believe him as the city guy going country underscores the duality he had to convey. Bud is both an outsider and a participant in the world he steps into, requiring Travolta to navigate a complex emotional and cultural terrain. The physical demands of the role were considerable. Mastering mechanical bull riding, performing in realistic barroom dance sequences, and embodying the rugged confidence of someone at home in a country setting, all while maintaining the likable, relatable persona that audiences expected from him. Travolta's natural charisma and dedication to craft allowed him to inhabit Bud fully, making the character credible and endearing. Part of what makes Urban Cowboy so memorable is its cultural authenticity. The film not only captured the aesthetic and social dynamics of Texas honky-tonks, but also helped popularize country music and dance styles nationwide. Songs by Johnny Lee and other country artists became hits following the film's release, and the mechanical bull scenes became emblematic of a moment in American pop culture. Travolta's commitment to immersing himself in the environment, learning the nuances of cowboy culture, interacting with local performers, and embracing the regional sensibilities contributed to the film's lasting impact. For him, the experience was transformative. It combined professional growth with personal enjoyment, giving him the satisfaction of working on a project that felt both challenging and authentic. Beyond its technical and cultural achievements, Urban Cowboy also resonated with Travolta on an emotional level. By this point in his career, he had experienced both critical acclaim and the pressures of stardom. The opportunity to play Bud Davis, a character navigating love, loyalty, and identity in a community outside his usual milieu, offered a refreshing creative challenge. Travolta's fondness for the film reflects an actor's perspective. It is not always the highest-grossing or most critically lauded project that becomes the most cherished, but the one in which the actor feels fully engaged, challenged, and able to stretch their craft in unexpected ways. Travolta's admiration for Urban Cowboy also underscores his broader interest in roles that require adaptability and emotional nuance. He has consistently gravitated toward projects that test his ability to inhabit diverse worlds, from French art films to classic Hollywood musicals to the gritty streets of disco-era New York, and Urban Cowboy exemplifies this approach. The film remains a cultural touchstone, celebrated for its authenticity, energy, and the way it captured a distinctive subculture at a specific moment in time. For Travolta, it is not just a highlight of his career. It is a reminder of the joy and fulfillment that comes from fully committing to a role and living inside a character's world. Horror movies. Like Carrie and The Exorcist. John Travolta is widely known for his performances in musicals, romantic dramas, and action films. Yet he has also spoken openly about his appreciation for horror cinema. Far from casual enjoyment, Travolta approaches the genre with a discerning eye, describing himself as a purist when it comes to horror. This perspective suggests that his interest in horror is rooted not in cheap thrills or jump scares, but in films that create immersive experiences, build psychological tension, and explore the deeper anxieties of human existence. For Travolta, horror is as much about intellectual and emotional engagement as it is about fear, demonstrating his broader understanding of cinematic artistry. In discussing his own work on The Fanatic, 2019, Travolta referenced two of his favorite horror films, William Friedkin's The Exorcist, 1973, and Brian De Palma's Carrie, 1976. Both films are iconic for their ability to combine visceral terror with psychological depth, crafting narratives that linger long after the credits roll. Travolta has expressed admiration for the way these films lure you in, drawing the viewer into their worlds through a combination of atmosphere, tension, and meticulous storytelling. This emphasis on immersion highlights Travolta's appreciation for horror that is intelligent, deliberate, and emotionally resonant, rather than relying solely on shock value. The Exorcist, often hailed as one of the greatest horror films of all time, exemplifies this approach. Its story of a young girl possessed by a demonic force unfolds with painstaking attention to character development, moral complexity, and atmospheric dread. Travolta's admiration for the film underscores its layered impact. It terrifies, yes, but it also engages the mind, asking viewers to consider themes of faith, innocence, and the unknowable forces that can disrupt ordinary life. The film's technical mastery, the chilling sound design, the groundbreaking special effects, and the steady, almost documentary-like direction contributes to a sense of verisimilitude, making the horror feel plausible and therefore more affecting. To a purist like Travolta, these qualities elevate The Exorcist from mere entertainment to an art form that manipulates tension, expectation, and psychological engagement with precision. Similarly, Carrie, De Palma's adaptation of Stephen King's novel, captures horror in both its intimate and catastrophic dimensions. Travolta has cited Carrie as a prime example of horror that successfully blends fear with a kind of intellectual and emotional resonance. The story of a bullied teenage girl discovering her telekinetic powers is, on the surface, a tale of supernatural vengeance, yet it also probes social alienation, familial dysfunction, and adolescent trauma. Travolta's admiration for the film likely stems from this interplay between character-driven storytelling and the shocking spectacle of the climactic prom sequence. Like The Exorcist, Carrie lures the audience in, not through mindless gore, but through careful character development, atmospheric tension, and escalating suspense. The emotional stakes heighten the horror, making the terror feel both personal and universal. Travolta's fascination with these films reflects his understanding of what makes horror compelling. It is not simply about eliciting screams, but about creating an immersive psychological experience. He appreciates films that balance narrative depth, thematic weight, and visual or auditory intensity, recognizing that the most effective horror challenges the viewer intellectually and emotionally, even as it frightens. This approach aligns with his broader acting philosophy, which values authenticity, emotional truth, and the ability of cinema to transport audiences into the interior lives of characters regardless of genre. Moreover, Travolta's self-identification as a purist suggests that he respects horror's craft as much as its content. He seems drawn to filmmakers who use suspense, pacing, and mise-en-scène to provoke fear, rather than relying on formulaic shocks. Directors like Friedkin and De Palma exemplify this artistry, and their influence is evident in Travolta's own careful approach to roles that require intensity, vulnerability, and immersion in a character's psychological state. For Travolta, watching The Exorcist or Carrie is an exercise in understanding how performance, narrative structure, and atmosphere converge to create a total cinematic experience. What do you think about John Travolta's favorite movies? Leave us your comments in the section below. We hope you have found this helpful video. Don't forget to leave a like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you like it. Thank you for watching this, and see you in the next videos. Goodbye.